Back in my day, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 261, and I am your host, the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Before we get started with the movie discussion tonight, let's go around and meet the fellow bros. We start with the American hero, Nate Thurmond. Now, Nate, since you are the American hero, have you ever had to deal with our British counterpart, the British hero, when we do our crossover pod with them about James Bond? And what is he like to work with?
If I had to pick one word to describe him, it would be pedantic. And I have met him once. We agreed not to meet on anyone's home turf, so we met in Switzerland to be neutral. So we scheduled a vacation a couple years ago in Bern. It was nice.
Was he like very arrogant and like he would order your drinks at the bars for you and stuff like that? Very like smarmy and British, or did I have him pegged wrong?
No, that's pretty close. He would always like swirl my drinks with his finger too. I don't know if that's a British thing or just
stick his finger in your drinks.
Yeah, to like stir it up. He said it was like a tradition from where he's from.
He said stirred, not shaken.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he kind of did the opposite to set himself apart from Bond.
Well, I guess they know manners. Who are we? Just slummy Americans. That voice you just heard is our legal counsel, Ronnie Cycli. Ronnie, we have to ask, if Bond and Moneypenny ever hooked up, is that something HR would be able to get them in trouble for?
I am not a British attorney. I'm not a barrister with a nice little powdered wig, so I don't want to speak.
Don't remind
for
us.
them. I wish I could be sophisticated enough, but they're two consenting adults who I would, well, I don't know. Consent is a term that James Bond might not be familiar with, but it seems like Moneypenny is at least involved in the flirtation. So, I think they're okay.
If you watch these films and don't think Moneypenny is eating that shit up, we're watching different movies. Yeah. I'm sorry.
She could be the only one who's like actually into Bond.
And at this point, even if Bond was like pretending to want to fuck her, at this point he's so committed to it. I don't even think he's like a method actor that's like, I don't know where the act ends and reality begins anymore, because they're basically.
But I respect her because she teases him right back,
and he needs that.
Yeah, he needs that balance.
Yeah. All right, all this talk about James Bond, you're probably wondering, what's that all about, governor? Well, our last episode.
It's Tuesday.
Did you say Tuesday?
I said it's Tuesday, isn't it?
Okay. Is that a saying?
Yeah, you've never heard, give me a bottle of water. It's Tuesday.
That's not what you said.
Right. I'm making fun of the Brits. Like, it's Tuesday.
Okay, I thought like that was a saying though. Like it's Tuesday.
It's like it's my saying for them.
It's like a little bit into the week, but it's not quite like the weekend-ish, We have derailed. Okay, it's James Bond movie madness. And what we did here on the Bro 4 Squad podcast, last episode, Cycli and I took the first 13 James Bond movies and we put them into a movie bracket, which we do every year here on the Bro 4 Squad. Not that specifically, but some movie theme bracket in March. The bracket is linked at the top of the description of this episode with all of the movies in the top 13 and who will be facing off with each other. Tonight, we will do round one of the James Bond movie madness bracket. And the methodology is very simple. The two movies up against each other will be picked between the three bros. Which of us think the movie is the better movie, and whichever one gets the majority, 2 out of 3 points, will advance on to the second round. We do have a play-in game, though, if you look at the bracket. 2 movies that, just because of the luck of the draw, did not actually get their ticket punched into James Bond movie madness, and they need to earn their way in tonight by facing off against each other. Let's get it started right there. Folks, at home we have On Her Majesty's Secret Service from 1969, nice, going up against You Only Live Twice, which, Cycli, correct me if I'm wrong, was this the one that was intended to be Connery's last, and then they talked him back into returning like a decade or so later?
I thought he wasn't in this one. Like,
You Only Live Twice?
Sorry, oh, you live in. Sorry, yeah. I thought you said sorry, I was having connection issues. I was trying to you. You Only Live Twice was when he came back.
Okay, that's right.
After the fact. And it is a title that was honored to his wife, who said, like basically like, or no, sorry, I'm wrong.
That's Never Say
That's
Never,
Never
right?
Say Never, right? I lost you completely, so I was like making things up.
I was like, I just watched this.
I had no idea what he was saying, and I was like, something with coming back. I'll go.
Well, let
Sorry
me
about
describe. You only live twice. In my letterbox reviews of these movies, I've noticed there is a theme early on of it seems like the only way that they can like feel they can mix up the James Bond genre is to just put him in a different city and fuck all the women there. And On Her Majesty's Secret Service has him basically in, I believe, the Swiss Alps doing Everyone at the Winter Olympics. And then You Only Live Twice puts James Bond in Japan doing Everyone in Japan, essentially. Nate Thurmond, which of these two movies would you give the nod to here for the better James Bond film?
I'm gonna just have to default on this one. Once we get into the actual bracket, I'll have a little more in-depth knowledge on some of these. But You Only Live Twice is going to get my nod for this one because I have seen it. So lucky for that one, it came earlier in the chronology. This one is, yeah, this one's fun. They do get it maybe a little racy when
Oh, so racist! You could never make this movie
Japanese,
Asian. Yeah.
and they put little eyelid things over him, which I just laughed at. So that was a nice humorous spot that I don't think they intended to be as funny as it is in 2026, but it was really funny.
In 1967, I don't think it was like anyone even, pun intended, batted an eye at this. Like it was just part of the strategy to blend him into Japan. It wasn't.
They're like, oh, of course. What else are you going to do?
Right. So he's just going to be there like a British-looking person? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I do believe I like in You Only Live Twice. I think this is I believe the first introduction in a Bond movie to the volcano layer, which is a great trope.
Yes, this is the one where they launched the rocket out of the volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. I thought that was really well done. Yeah, I like the very secretive layer put in something or put somewhere where you wouldn't normally think of a layer being, but now it's kind of a trope that's been used over and over again.
And probably because Austin Powers did it.
Yes,
so you're like,
but it's cool to see like some of the originals and like where some of these spy movie tropes and other action movie tropes came from.
Yeah, absolutely. Cycly, before we toss it back to you, I'm going to give you the pressure of breaking a tie here because I was texting you as I was watching On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And guys, maybe it's because I'm like the hipster James Bond fan. I do not understand why people give George Lazenby any criticism for playing Bond. There was times in his performance in On Her Majesty's Secret Service that I was like, dude, I might like him better than Connery. I know that's fucking crazy to say, but people who act like he's like a complete embarrassment to the franchise, I don't get it at all. I loved him in this movie. And like all these Bond movies, it gets a little weird at the end, but when he's like bobsledding and killing people at the same time, I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I think he bangs like 17 chicks in this film. He bangs like every chick in that like mountain resort warehouse, but it's part of the mission.
Yeah, this is my next one up, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, sorry for the spoilers, but let me know if I'm just crazy about Lazenby. He makes like a weird joke in the beginning about like it's like a meta joke about replacing Sean Connery, but from then on in, I feel like he's his own Bond, and I was digging it. So On Her Majesty's Secret Service gets my vote. Cycly, it's tied up. Who is going to advance to face Diamonds Are Forever in round 2?
Okay, sorry about that, by the way. I have fixed my connection issues. I don't know what was going on. But now that I know it's absolutely being talked about, I have to agree. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is not only a great Bond movie, like, I mean, it's, like you said, it's so much better than anyone has ever talked about. And when you actually read about, like, the hate it got, it was the British media doing what the British media does best, whether it's about, like, British media just thrives on negativity, and it can be about their soccer teams, about movies, whatever. And it was them being just you didn't want to be the first person after Sean Connery. And I really think that they came hard at that, and they like the amount of cruelty they came at Lazenby, which is why he never came back. This is arguably, and I think when you actually talk to like Bond heads, they will tell you that this is one of the top 10, if not higher, Bond movies of all time.
Love to hear that.
I think the hardest part is like you just have to get over the fact, and I think it's easier for our generation, right? Like we can watch all of the Bond movies. We grew up on Brosnan or Craig, and Bond doesn't have a specific personality for it. Bond can be a lot of different types, but when you're coming from the 60s Connery, like he was Bond, right? I understand why there was hate to it. There's a lot of immense pressure to Lazenby, but we can get over that now. And I think this film has been considered better as it's aged. So honestly, I could see this film actually going pretty far for Bond heads in this bracket because it is a good spy thriller.
Was Lazenby like blamed for Connery leaving? I mean, obviously it's not his fault, but we're fans like, get the fuck out of here. You're not James Bond.
I don't think they blamed him for Connery. I think they just were like, you're just not Bond. And the British media, I'm pretty sure, called him all kinds of names. And
it's like the kid with divorced parents when he meets the new chick his dad is dating. He's like, you're not my mom. And she's like, I know. I'm not trying to be your mom.
And he's Pierce Brosnan and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Wow, what a great way to bring this thing
full.
Look,
that's how we connect these things here in the Rogue Force Squad.
All right, well, on Her Majesty's Secret Service will advance to face Diamonds Are Forever. All right, next up, matchup between The Spy Who Loved Me with Roger Moore as James Bond versus Thunderball. Wait, is that the matchup? Yes, that's Thunderball with, of course, Sean Connery. Nate Thurmond, we'll go to you first. Who you got here?
All right, so this is an interesting one. I haven't seen The Spy Who Loved Me in years. Did watch Thunderball just recently. So probably going against contrary belief of how I'm going to go. I'm going to go for The Spy Who Loved Me. Thunderball wasn't my favorite. It was okay. I liked all the underwater stuff they did. It was kind of cool. It kind of went a little over the top, which obviously happens in a lot of these Bond movies. But yeah, I was just laughing through the whole underwater battle scene, to be honest.
Well, you and I had the debate.
Two armies going against each other. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Nate and I had a debate about this because I've been keeping a tally or trying to of how many women Bond sleeps with. And there was a bit of we were just trying to, it was a gray area about if he fucked that one chick in the water.
Yeah, so there's a quick scene where they meet underwater and then go down below these rocks. And I'm like, that's kind of insinuating sex. So it's on my question mark. I don't know. I'm still keeping a tally of 100% and questionable ones.
You know my rule for any PG movie that took place in the 60s. If I don't see full penetration, then it doesn't
exactly
count, which I don't think is asking too much.
It really isn't. I think that's the bare minimum.
This one, but yeah, Bond does kill a lot of fucking people in the water.
Yeah, like kills a lot of people. But yeah, I feel like they had just gotten the technology to film underwater, and they're like, fucking full bore. Let's do this. Everything underwater. Fighter jet underwater. Put a tarp over this guy underwater on the fighter. Okay, let's revisit the fighter jet. Is he still dead? He's still dead underwater. Cool. But with all that being said, the reason I'm picking The Spy Who Loved Me, and I can't wait to watch this again. Jaws is in this, and that was growing up when I watched this. Like that's one of like the Bond villains that like stuck with me, and like it's so iconic. And so I think that's enough for me to put it ahead of Thunderball.
Yeah,
because I remember that so vividly. So when I watch it again, I'm sure I'm gonna love it just as much.
Yeah, Jaws is like the perfect level of camp.
Yeah,
like, but also like an equal foe for Bond. Cycling, what do you got? The Spy Who Loved Me or Thunderball?
It's funny because like Jaws was someone you never wanted to pick in GoldenEye on the N64 because he was so big. But you wanted to pick. No one was allowed to pick Odd Job. But like in the movies, like you take Jaws all day. but odd job, you could get away with murder, literally. But so that, when you're referencing Jaws, this cracks me up how much like no one would pick him in Goldeneye.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I think this might be the toughest of this side of the bracket, because I already alluded to Roger. I've said it many times. Like, Roger Moore is maybe my least favorite Bond, and maybe I'm influenced by my father, who's maybe the biggest Bond head on the planet, and he gets really comical throughout his as he grows into Bond. The Spy Who Loved Me is his best Bond movie. So this is peak Roger Moore. Like, he doesn't get better than this moment, and you're right about Jaws. The hard part about Thunderball is, you guys have alluded to it, the repetition in the battle scenes underwater. And there's a lot of them. I mean, obviously there's the main sequence climax at the end, but it's like, you are absolutely right. They had to have just developed this technology, right? Like, they're like, we got the budget for it, we're going to show it off. And so there's part of me, again, kind of in the 60s and being like, what am I seeing this for the first time? This is like watching Star Wars in 77, right? Like,
it's kind of tough. Yeah.
You know, is the movie sitting there going like, holy shit, when you walk out? Like, can you imagine they did that underwater? And Thunderball's a really interesting one. It's considered one of the best Bond movies ever by a lot of people because of this reason.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna put the pressure on Horns. I'm gonna give it the slight nod to Thunderball. Not that it's my favorite Connery, not that it's my favorite Bond. It's that I'm trying to take it in for the moment that it was, and had probably the deepest consequence of at least the first few Bond movies, in like terms of the nuclear weapons being stolen and what could possibly happen with that.
Yeah, I think Thunderball, the villain, like the stakes of finally getting to see Spectre like full bore was kind of cool, because they had been alluded to a little bit before this. The nostalgia bone in me, I gotta go with The Spy Who Loved Me, just like Nate said, because Jaws was in it, and he was such a fun villain as a kid. Like, he looks ridiculous, his mouth is absurd.
Yeah.
And the way that he fights Bond sort of reminds me of like in like the modern day, when you see like George Clooney's Batman fighting Bane and Batman and Robin, and if you're at home like, why is that a positive thing for the movie? Go back and rewatch Batman and Robin, because it's fucking hilarious to watch. Yeah, but I do agree with what you said, Cycly. This is probably Moore's best take as Bond. And really, for me, the only time that I watched him portray Bond that I didn't think he was like kind of, I don't want to say he's doing it like ham-fisted or like kind of making fun of the character of Bond, but this is the one time where at least I kind of felt like he gave his most earnest performance as the character. Everything else just sort of feels a little bit like, look, I'm not going to be Sean Connery, so what's the point even fucking trying to do that? This one,
it was just the least gimmicky.
Yeah,
I feel like
it felt the best natured. So
what's funny is, like, in my opinion, I think I agree with you guys. Like, Spy Who Loved Me absolutely deserves this win. It's very close. But if this had been like against, like, there's no other movie that could have done this in the Roger Moore era, is what I'm going to say, that could have won this matchup. In my opinion,
that is true. That is true. All right, so The Spy Who Loved Me advances. It will face the winner of On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Diamonds Are Forever. Let's move on to Goldfinger and For Your Eyes Only. So another Connery versus Bond. Cycly, we'll go to you first. Who you got in Goldfinger from 1964, or For Your Eyes Only all the way from 1981?
Well, this is kind of, I mean, I just kind of played my hand, right? Like, I just said that the best Roger Moore movie just happened. So, I mean, Goldfinger, it's funny that we have all been texting about this film. But Goldfinger is probably the most like true form modern day spy thriller like influence. Like, hey, you have just like a pure villain. Like, it's not Spectre. It's not like, there's not like this conglomerate. It's like, hey, this is the bad guy. And like, he has these resources and he has this plan, and they're going to go with it. Goldfinger, again, whether or not now we can look at it in 2026 and kind of make fun, like I think we all alluded to, like Goldfinger is either at one moment this bumbling idiot moment, Goldfinger is this like ultimate villain. And but he was such an establishment that like I think inspires so much of the Austin Power movie villains, right? Like, and it's just a pure spy movie. And Goldfinger is probably, it's not my favorite of the Connery, but like it is. There's a reason why people say like this is the reason we have spy movies like this today. And For Your Eyes Only, not just for the reasons I just said about The Spy Who Loved Me, was I think the start of kind of a downfall of the 80s Bonds, where it kind of turned a little bit too characteristic. I'm not sure what the right word is, but it was just like, yeah, it just like started that moment. And it was, I just don't, it's hard for me to kind of like keep my attention.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to Nate in person a little while ago about Goldfinger, and I was like, I think I kind of like how there's times in the movie, mainly in the first act, where he is like this bumbling idiot who like is like spilling his drink on himself at the pool and like it's almost like slapsticky. And then in the next scene, he like has every single one of the nations of the world at his like fingertips and bowing to him, and he's killing his henchmen in gas chambers. And you're like, is this guy a genius or an idiot? Or is the idiot thing an act? But I did really enjoy Goldfinger as a villain, and the end set piece, obviously all done practically because they couldn't have done it any other way. I mean, the amount of sheer extras and like fake bullets they had to use, that alone you have to just, almost like Nate was saying, the underwater, like the efforts to film all that shit underwater, you have to kind of appreciate. That's kind of what makes me appreciate Goldfinger so much. So
yeah, and that Fort Knox, there's a lot of like weight to that ending in Goldfinger.
Yeah, Nate, I hate to toss it to you with it already decided because I'm going Goldfinger too, so it's up 2-0. But can For Your Eyes Only cover the spread, or are you going clean sweep with Goldfinger here?
No, we've got a clean sweep here. Yeah, it's Goldfinger for me. Yeah, I really liked him as a villain, and the whole movie kind of came together well. And I think you guys have kind of already hit the nail on the head with it. Like the stakes were large. And everything involved as far as the plan to infiltrate Fort Knox and all that. It was fun. I really enjoyed this one. Sometimes some of the cheesy, corny stuff or the dated stuff is tough for me to get over sometimes in these older movies. But
yeah,
no, this one was fun and great. Really enjoyed it.
The plan of melting the gold is kind of fucking genius, you got to admit.
Yeah.
I love when he's like, how are you going to get the gold out of here? It's like, we're not. Like that's genius. Like he's like, no, we're gonna just fuck with the gold supply.
Yeah. No, Mr. Powers, I expect them to die.
$1 million.
All right, Goldfinger moves on. Who will it face? Well, we have the 2 one-word Bond movies. Octopussy. Yes, that's the title. Versus Moonraker. So here we get a double dose of Roger Moore, some friendly fire. Nate, which one would you go with between Octopussy or Moonraker, which sees the return of our boy Jaws?
So I haven't seen either one of these recently. So this is
recently. That's okay. Now this is better because it's what will have stuck with.
He's gonna pick Octopussy just for the name.
100%. I'm gonna do that, and I'm pretty sure it has a very sexual intro, which several Bonds do, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember, I may be speaking out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure this one has one too. And there was one of the early ones too, because I remember texting that I'm pretty sure this is where my first boner came from, watching one of these.
Oh, I mean, how can it, this should be in your top 100 then, based on the criteria we use.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just the boldness of naming a movie Octopussy. Yeah, that's enough to get my vote, and for it to move on at least one round.
I have so much respect for that.
Mm-hmm.
Cycly, what will you go with? Octopussy's up 1-0.
Yeah, Octopussy, I think, outside of the love of the name, which is just iconic, might be one of the worst Bond movies in my opinion. Like this is the one I believe that Roger Moore wears a clown costume, if I recall correctly. It's
called a
peak
disguise. He's a spy.
Yes, you're right. He is wearing a disguise.
I do like though how he's investigating the death of another MI6 agent. That was kind of cool.
I mean, he's doing the job, and I'm proud of him. Like, good for him. This is peak Roger Moore for me. And then maybe there's people out there who's like, I'm a hater, I'm a purist. Like Timothy Dalton, Lazenby, Brosnan, Craig. Roger Moore is my least favorite Bond, and maybe I'm being prejudiced, but it's hard to get over some of the things that happens in both of these movies. Moonraker, I will kind of like I alluded to Thunderball. Moonraker was the opposite. At least they go to space, and imagine
and
coming
Venice,
out of the
and Rio. It's like Jesus Christ.
Well, this is 2 years after the first Star Wars movie, so capitalizing on that. I kind of think
for sure.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there was the visuals were nominated. There was an Academy Award for this one for visual effects, I think. So I think again, if I'm putting myself, like I've tried to multiple times in this conversation, in that moment, Moonraker over the ridiculousness of Octopussy, whether that's the name or like Roger Moore being a clown. But it is the 80s, guys. I mean, late 80s or early 80s, depending on how you judge these.
All right, 1-1. I'm going to break the tie by giving my vote also to Moonraker, as tempting as it was, based on the title of Octopussy, to vote for it. Moonraker has, it kind of reminds me of like a Fast and Furious movie with all the locale jumps. Like, all right, we just want to set a cool set piece in Venice, so just the movie fucking has to go there for some reason. Cool. And then also, this is one where I got to say, even though I kind of found it entertaining and funny, that this is like the 7th time now that like James Bond is in space. Like he is in space more than fucking a NASA astronaut at this point, but I actually respect it. And Jaws returns, so that helps it get my vote here.
Hell yeah.
So Moonraker advances, and it will go on to face Goldfinger in the next round. So it's got definitely a tough matchup for it right there.
Also, Goldfinger. How do we not even talk about the song for Goldfinger? God, how good is that?
Oh, well, speaking of songs, the best Bond song that I've heard so far by Sir Paul McCartney in the next movie, Live and Let Die, which is the first Roger Moore James Bond, against Dr. No, which is the first James Bond. Cycly, we'll let you go first. I think this is, I know that you're not a big Roger Moore fan, but this one is a little, it's not the toughest matchup, but it's interesting. It's got some sauce to it. TV would like to put this matchup on TV.
It's interesting for sure. I think the more intense one would be The Spy Who Loved Me versus Dr. No, if you wanted to get like a true Sean Connery versus Roger Moore, like we did with Thunderball. I'm going to go with Dr. No here, not just because I'm a Sean Connery like Bond guy over Roger Moore. Dr. No has, if you actually take the impact that Dr. No has on the entire genre, being the first one, let's not considering the satirical Casino Royale. Dr. No has, with the Test of Time, like literally when you go watch the original Austin Powers movie 30 years later, my wife watched Dr. No with me, and she was like, I did not realize how much was it.
Yeah.
And it's not just Austin Powers, like how much of spy genre, how much of, and it's one thing to say like whether it's From Russia with Love or Goldfinger or Thunder, like for James Bond become his own. Is Dr. No the best James Bond film? No, it's not. But like it's impressive how much they got right that early on. And again, for it being now a 60 year plus film, it is literally still stands pretty strongly. So I'm going to go with Dr. No. I think most people would know Dr. No over Live and Let Die.
Reminds me of when Nate Thurman and my wife realized that we don't actually have jokes of our own. Everything we say is just really from Wedding Crashers. We were watching it, and People Helping People came up, and my wife goes, "What the fuck? I thought you made that up." I was like, "God, I wish."
She's like, "You have no personality."
No, literally. She was like, "Everything you say that I thought was funny is from this fucking film." I was like, I'm sorry. I'm a coxman. I did it again.
Yeah, it's right there. They're so easy.
All right, Dr. No gets the point. Nate, what do you go with here? Live and Let Die, the first Roger Moore film, or Dr. No, the first film?
Man, I hate to just go ahead and kind of decide the matchup on this one, but I'm going to go with Dr. No too. Yeah, I really really enjoyed this one. Yeah, had a lot of classic spy aspects to it. The set pieces were really great. Where it was shot was, I think, really well done. They had a lot of good like tropical scenes, and assuming they shot it in Jamaica since that's where a lot of it was.
Yeah.
With the river scenes, like one of the first big scenes, seeing like a huge lair, like in a James Bond movie, I thought was really well done. The set was really cool. I thought in that aspect alone, they gave like a really good interpretation of the size and the scale of everything. And all that had to be built, like wasn't AI or computer generated or anything like that. So yeah, just like what Cyclo was saying, like what this did for spy movies going forward, for Bond going forward, it being the originator. I think it deserves a lot of credit for that. Now on the other side, some of the Jamaican actors or accents they were doing, not the best. Could have done better.
Jamaican actors are expensive. We know this.
Yes. Yeah. Very widely known.
Yeah. So Dr. No does a couple really cool things for me. The first one is I kind of love just the cat and mouse about how like the professor is like fucking with Bond the whole time, and they both kind of know they're fucking with each other, but they're both like still keeping up this facade. I love how you hardly see Dr. No in the first two acts of this. I just like how he's omnipresent but like not visibly seen. I thought was really fucking cool. It slowed down for me a little bit when they get stranded on that island, like the time between going to the base at the end and on the island.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I found it pretty kinetic and actually like kind of a cool, like one of the better like actual spy / mystery plots in the early James Bond movies. I gotta say this about Live and Let Die though. I'm giving my vote to Dr. No. But there's two things, and you could say that it's like the team that gets their ass beat, but they have cooler jerseys and hotter cheerleaders. This is what Live and Let Die has. The song by Paul McCartney is a fucking banger. I'm not even kidding. So in all the Bond movies, at least the early ones, like this was a time in film where the credits played before the movie. And part of the benefit to that is they get to basically play the entire Bond song that was written for the film. I rewound it and I was like, run that at me again, Paul. At the beginning of Live and Let Die. The other thing it has, and I will not even hear a debate on this, Jane Seymour in Live and Let Die is the hottest Bond girl, and I don't even think it's close as Solitaire. I mean, she is
that's a claim. I mean, there's Ava Green. There's a lot of that.
Oh, I know, but Jane Seymour in this, Jane Seymour is hot now as like a 70-year-old. She's like 22 in this, and she's a 12 out of 10. It's not even fair. So it has the hottest Bond girl and an absolute banger of a soundtrack, but it is so fucking goofy. And like the whole New Orleans, Bond in New Orleans just doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a bad like Scooby-Doo plot, like the Harlem Globetrotters and the Mystery Gang are together. It's like, what is this? This just doesn't work. It doesn't fit well. And I think they try so hard to make it like, it is such a big part of the plot. Like all he's doing is running from people in New Orleans. And then the fucking Bayou cops at the end are like, utterly ridiculous. So Jane Seymour, 12 out of 10. Live and Let Die, 12 out of 10, the song. But Dr. No is just such a better movie.
Can I ask you a question?
I guess.
More turned on by Jane Seymour in this movie or Wedding Crashers?
Man, that's tough.
You motored them. You motored, didn't you? You motored.
Is she still in the house? What is wrong with you? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? Stop projecting. Projecting on me. Man, I might go Wedding Crashers, but I don't know. She's like different types of crazy in both. In this one, she tries to. I mean, who was actually buying that she's a virgin? Because I wasn't. Also, it took me forever to. I'm so dumb, but to realize that her name was Solitaire. I thought every time James Bond saw her, he was making a joke about her having cards. Like, oh, you play in solitaire? I'm like, dude, you've said that 4 times. Like, get a new fucking.
I mean, it can go either way. You're not crazy for thinking that.
And then I was like, why is her name Solitaire? Just because that's like really fucking stupid. Because she has tarot cards? I don't know. Kind of dumb. But I digest. All right, Dr. No, clean sweep moves on. The last matchup of the night, and who will face Dr. No in the second round? We have the Man with the Golden Gun. Also kind of a banger song, but also ridiculous sounding, against from Russia, with Love. So again, Moore versus Connery. Nate, let's go to you first to close us out. Who do you got in Man with the Golden Gun or From Russia with Love?
Okay, so I'm going back on my notes here, and I am seeing From Russia with Love. Per my notes, very sexual opening. So this is the one I was referring to earlier. Now I'm trying to remember back.
From Russia with Love might have the second or third hottest Bond girl in the first set that we've looked at, Daniela Bianchi.
Yeah,
she can do it.
But even beyond that, I'm going to go with From Russia with Love anyway. The open, and this is just a small part of it, but the opening was really fun. With him being stalked around through a training service or a training run or something, and then you see like the mask getting taken off, which is something that has been replicated in movies after that with Mission Impossible and other things. So that was a really cool opening scene. I like the back and forth with like a specialized killer coming after Bond, like specially trained. This is like his one mission, and so that's kind of like the back and forth in the cat and mouse game the whole time. But yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed this one. As far as the ones that I've watched recently, this is probably one of my more favorite ones. So nice. Yeah, From Russia with Love is get it for me on this one.
All right, one vote for From Russia with Love. Cycly, who do you got?
I'm just going to make it easy. It's From Russia with Love. I mean, this might be... I don't know if I will be willing to declare this my favorite Bond movie, but it's definitely in the top 3.
It's pretty damn good.
It's kind of what like the compliments I gave to Dr. No, that it's what stood the test of time. This does it even better. And the sense that this is the second one, like it would be if, let's say, there were only 2 Bond movies, this would be up there with like Terminator. That would be like, hey, this is one of the greatest sequels of all time, Empire Strikes Back. It absolutely take what Dr. No does and makes it so much better. And so, yeah, like you said, I don't know what's going on right now. Sorry, I don't.
You're just so emotional.
Technical difficulties nonstop. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, Dr. No, I will say, unfortunately, is an easy answer for me.
Yeah, I agree. We'll make it a clean sweep here. I do love that Christopher Lee shows up in The Man with the Golden Gun, fucking legend and beloved on the pod. But From Russia with Love, I think Casino Royale later down the line does a really good job of this too. But it's hard for me as a person who likes James Bond to buy that there is a woman that he might be willing to like not only lose sight of his mission, but possibly give up the life that he knows for by falling in love with her. And I actually bought the romance with Tatiana in From Russia with Love. And I kind of did the same thing with Vesper in Casino Royale. And I do think that's hard to do. And if done improperly, it almost feels like it's just done for plot purposes and goes against sort of everything that the Bond, not everything, but a lot of things that the Bond character has exhibited in previous movies. So I bought it in From Russia with Love, and it's actually crucial to the plot. Like the end, like 20 minutes are kind of heartbreaking if you like really think about it. And pretty much everything on the train thereafter is just like a pretty epic way to end the movie. So sorry, Roger Moore and Christopher Lee, but I got to go with From Russia with Love and a clean sweep over The Man with the Golden Gun, which might have a short-lived run here in the tournament because it has to go up against Dr. No next.
This is a tough matchup.
Yeah, it is. All right, bracket is posted at the top of this description. Please weigh in and let us know your thoughts. Did we get it wrong? Did we get it right? It's getting more serious. We'll probably wrap up the tournament on the next episode since it will be just the 4 total matchups to round things out. But I'm having fun going back and revisiting these. I did see, I had just watched Live and Let Die yesterday, and Netflix told me it was being removed from the service on April 20th. Do you guys know
all
if
of
that's,
them or just
that's what I was going to ask you guys, if because I know the licensing deals are weird. Are they all going away or just maybe a few? Have you heard anything?
I hadn't heard anything.
On 420, they got to get rid of it to put up all their stoner movies.
Yeah, I guess so. I figured they were all staying.
Same. I don't understand how these licensing deals work. Sometimes they're like so short-lived on some of these platforms.
Well, there are, I mean, some different ones. The Never Say Never Again is technically not in the same universe as some of the Bond movies.
It's not
But
part of MGM.
Yeah, in the I think is it EO. Yeah, so like Never Say Never Again. That's why they Never Say Never Again is kind of a Thunderball remake.
Interesting. All right. Well, let us know at home. All right, that brings us to the second part of our show called Our Protein Shake, where we go around and talk about what is in your cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Nate, why don't you go first? What is something you have seen since we last spoke that you would like to discuss?
That is a great question, and I'm going to answer that question by saying that I watched Big Bold Beautiful Journey. I think is what it's called. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. Starring Margot Robbie and God, I'm blanking on it now.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Is this streaming anywhere? Or did you watch it at your local library?
No, I watched this on a plane recently.
Oh, good plane watch.
Yeah, that's like kind of like, it's funny. I take my iPad every time, like, oh, I'm gonna download shit, and then I get on there, I'm like, well, what do they have? Because they usually have things that like aren't streaming on like a lot of shit. So I'm like, well, this may be my only opportunity. It was a fun, weird movie. You have to suspend your belief a little bit because it gets kind of mystical, kind of otherworldly.
It's a little cute. It definitely thought it was pretty clever, I would say.
Yes, and I still liked it, but I could see people describing it as pretentious or it insists upon itself, for sure. But I thought the acting between both of them was great. I thought the story they were trying to tell, whether people liked it or not, or it came across well for people, I thought it was fun. And yeah, it was a quirky, weird love story. And the ancillary characters, like when he goes to rent the car, those two people that he's renting from are so weird, but it's funny. It kind of adds some nice brevity in there that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, it was fun. I would recommend it. It's probably not everyone's cup of tea, but it was a fun little journey.
Yeah, I saw it late last year, and it was actually one of my favorite trailers of last year too. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it, but I think really sort of captured like the quirkiness of the movie really well. It is kind of weird to see like Colin Farrell in roles like this, so I think that's also what kind of drew me to it, where he's not like acting; he's like having a little bit of fun, letting his hair down. And like you said, it's not for everybody, but I think if you can like sort of suspend disbelief and have some enjoyment with it, it's a fun movie, and it gets a little melodramatic at times, like maybe a little bit beating you over the head with it, but I think for the most part it never really gets so far down that road that you're like, dude, come the fuck on. Like it always sort of pulls on the reins when it needs to.
Sure. Yeah, definitely agree on that.
Cycler, have you seen this? He's muted.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nate, would you say recommend or like soft recommend?
Yeah, it's a soft recommend for sure.
Like a flaccid recommend.
Nice, yeah.
I will just keep going around in a circle till
Yeah,
someone wants to tap out. Cycling, what do you got?
I texted you guys about it this last weekend. Hamnet.
Oh yeah.
I really wish I had watched this earlier. This might be the best movie in 2026 or 2025. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Bold.
I'll stick to what I said at the end of the year. This 2025 was a relatively weak year in movies, and I was happy that One Battle After Another won. Like, felt it was deserving. Loved that film. Loved the performances. Finally got around to watching Hamnet, and I'm not exaggerating, guys. I cried multiple times throughout this film.
Jeez.
And I will say this as you guys being fathers and me to be a father to be, it's not an easy watch, and I didn't know the full story, how much was based in like William Shakespeare's real life, how much inspired Hamlet. Like I just kind of went in relatively blind. My sisters made fun of me when I texted them how much I cried. They're like, "Did you not know what this was about?" And I'm like, "No, I did not realize this." So Jessie Buckley won the Oscar for best performing actress. Absolutely deserved after watching this. I mean, it's made complete sense. Paul Mescal was incredible in this film. I feel like I'm going to remember this movie more in 5 years than I'm going to remember One Battle After Another. I'm not saying it deserved to win best movie, but I think this is going to stick with me more. Not saying it's because it's based on a relative true story. Obviously, it's based on a story of a true story. We don't know how much it's based in reality, but it's so isolated. It's based on a true story, but it's just like no one knows whether the story, how true the story was. I mean, it's like from the 1300s, so it's like,
okay,
you know, what inspired William Shakespeare
based
to write
on a
Hamlet?
true.
It's based on a story.
Like
It's okay.
Story Inception.
I don't want to give anything away. It's what happened to William Shakespeare's family, and there's an interpretation of why it inspired him to make the play Hamlet.
Okay.
And so like it's based on some writings, but also like, you know, liberal interpretation of like that. But at the end of the day, it's so isolated. So like you have a limited amount of characters. It's about like, you know, the play going around in England at the same time. William Shakespeare trying to like figure out his life between his family and then going to London and write his plays. And this like this connection between a husband and wife whose priorities seem different between their family versus career. And I didn't know a lot of this going into the film. It's currently on Peacock. Guys, I'm not exaggerating again. This film broke me. Like, and then I actually decided the next morning to play the last 30 minutes again just to see if I would do better with it. And I cried again. Like,
why? What does it say about me as a person that when you're like, it devastated me and broke my heart? I'm like, fuck, I want to watch that.
Yeah, no, like I want you both to watch it, but I want you both to be like just aware of like the emotion attached to it.
I don't know if it was Nate a few years ago who was the first one to watch My Old Ass, and he was like, yeah, it'll just crush you inside. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's turn it on. Why do I put myself through that wantingly?
I don't know. We're weird humans.
Yes, it fucks, man.
It's slightly less than 2 hours, I believe.
Now
when
it
you
is
actually,
nothing.
yeah, exactly. But when you think about it, it's like a relatively slow-moving movie, but it doesn't feel like that. And especially the climax of the film, which is probably about 30 minutes, like makes you feel every second of it in a good way. Like I really.
We're still talking about a movie.
Yeah, no, that well, you know, yes and no.
I'm looking at this
crying
cast.
makes it feel better.
This is the most British cast of all time.
It is. I want you both to watch it, but I feel like you both are going to be mad at me when you watch it. Like you're going to be like, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to suffer. Why did you make me watch that?
I'm so not that I want to torture myself. It's just your reaction being so visceral and like seeing like you've described 1,000 movies around me or to me, and this one is
yeah,
this one is visibly visually different. So that's my biggest curiosity. I'm like, what movie is causing Cycly to have this reaction?
It might be where I'm not trying to be corny, but it might be the fact that you guys are young fathers and I'm a young father to be.
That's what factors into it, though, man. Like you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where you're coming from.
Yeah. Wow.
That's why I love Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze. Remember, because I was in a street gang at the time.
Well, that's more emotional. I can't compare that to that.
Well, no,
yeah, not even close.
Hope you wouldn't try. Okay, let me run through two things real quick. I finished with my wife the Traitors season 4. Do either of you guys watch this show?
No.
I watched the first season because of what you said.
Yeah, it's one of those like trashy reality shows that like we just always like to have one of them kind of running so that like we can throw it on when we just want to not think after work. And the Traitors season 4 is basically, if you haven't seen the show, the quick 15-second pitch. They take like a bunch of reality TV stars or some like some are actors, but they're not like big actors. Like Michael Rappaport is on this season. And they go into a castle in Scotland, and Alan Cumming is the host, and they basically play a game of werewolf, where there's like 3 werewolves that we are aware of as the audience, and the cast has to try and figure out who they are while they earn money through competing challenges. And this season was pretty good. I would say probably my second favorite of the 4. But what they are doing next season is almost more the point that I wanted to bring up. They are shifting from reality TV stars and like C-list celebrities to it's just going to be in season 5 average Joes. Like just regular people. And I'm trying to think of like a show that has done this before and like how it's going to play out, because you come into this, these reality TV stars have like personas they feel like they need to be on the show. Like you can definitely tell where they're like, oh, you're from the Real Housewives, so every time there's a discussion, you feel like you need to like flip the table or something like that. I wonder what it's going to be though now when it's like Chuck, the mechanic from Rhode Island. Yeah, Boise is on there with Pamela, the hairdresser from Nevada. Like what's going to happen? So I'm going to give the next season a chance. This is one of those shows that I like, but I don't love. But it also feels like, again, like that trashy show void. And it's like an 8-episode season. Each time they're like 45 minutes, so it's not too much of a commitment. So stay tuned for Traitors season 5.
Nice.
How it plays out.
Okay.
One other one I wanted to bring up, since we had Cycly on the pod, is I just saw The Strangers Chapter 3.
Ooh.
Which
Still need to get there.
You've only seen the first one, right?
Yeah. Well, chapter 1.
Right.
Let's not disrespect the OG Strangers.
For sure. Which I still to this day say is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Strangers Chapter 3 concludes the trilogy, and these were all filmed simultaneously to tell sort of one, I don't want to say, I don't know, one's essentially like arc, I guess, which at the time after the first film, I was like, I don't see how this is 3 movies, but they did it. I guess my thought after this is the theory that I always had came true, and it was the more that you know about the killers in the Strangers movies, the less scary it all becomes, because in these 3 films, especially the third film, it is essentially like an in-depth origin of the killers.
Interesting.
Yeah, so now you pretty much know everything. Like there's no secrets, and that makes them much less harrowing and frightening to us. It just kind of, now they're humans instead of like these faceless people behind a mask who are killing for no reason. And I don't think that's a spoiler, because if you've seen the second one or even the trailer for this, you know that it's going to be a lot of backstory on them. And I texted Cycly because he was just like, just spoil some stuff for me. And without telling our listeners, like there actually are pretty cool reasons for why the killers do what they do and say what they say. So that stuff I actually thought was really well done. It's just they're not as scary now that I know everything about them, unfortunately.
I think that's like the damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like it's like you want to see the monster.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be disappointed because nothing can live up to those imagination. And then but if you don't see the monster and you walk out of the film, you're like, oh, why didn't they show it to us? It's like, I don't know what the victory is here.
You have to protect me from myself. Don't give me what I want, because I don't want.
I mean, I agree, but like you and I both have complained about the films that don't give us that reveal, right? Like, so it's very. I mean, again, I know how the perception of these Strangers, I don't know what we want to call them, remakes or whatever, are looking like, but in general, it's a very like tightrope to play.
Yeah. I don't even know what you would call these. Reboots. The first one is a kind of a remake, wouldn't you say? Not shot for shot, but it's kind of close.
They tried as hard to be the first one.
And then these 2 are obviously based on like, they're just like new stories, but they're connected. I don't know. I liked them. I'm a huge Strangers fan, so that might actually hurt my interest in these, because it's almost like don't touch my classic Strangers. The third one definitely had some redeeming qualities. The second one I was not as big a fan of. And the first one I liked quite a bit. So up and down throughout the trilogy. It's likely when you check it out, we'll have to discuss more in depth. All right, that's all I got. Nate, you got anything else?
Yeah, the 2 quick TV shows I'll I'll mention Paradise and Shrinking.
Mm.
All right, Cycly, what do you got?
Shrinking. I got Shrinking shared.
I am almost
Oh,
done.
I
with
was just
both
kidding. I
of
was just
these.
acting like that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, I have a few
About those.
more, but I can be really quick. But Shrinking is one of them.
No, so yeah, Paradise, finished that. No, Horns, you were talking off pod that you should wrap up the final episode pretty soon on that one.
Can you give me your thoughts on the season without spoiling too much, or is it too hard?
I can.
Okay.
So I really like the season. Do I like it as much as season one? Probably not, but I don't
That'd be
think
hard to do, though, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's a bad season. Now the direction they're going is interesting. I think it's going to be tough for them to land. And from what I've heard,
that's where I'm getting a little bit worried, is where this could be going next season.
And from what I've heard talking to some other people, and you may know this or have seen this online, I guess they're supposed to just do 3 seasons and that's it. So
okay, if they can promise me that, I'm actually more optimistic.
Yeah.
I don't want this to become Lost, though, where we just keep adding crazy plot threads to the point where the thing gets stretched so thin.
Yeah, so it started out, obviously, big reveal, season 1, episode 1, and it's kind of stayed in this tight little tunnel, and that's been great. As season 2 has progressed, the funnel has kind of opened up to possibilities and like where these threads could go. So depending on what direction they go with it and how they play this, I'll be honest, it could go up or down. No idea, but I can't wait for you to finish the episode so we can talk afterwards, because there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I will say this. Some of the characters in this are fucking wild, like just batshit,
Mm-hmm.
and that has made it pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun from an audience standpoint, fun power dynamics, and the way that egos and non-egos are butting up against each other, and the characters are very dynamic for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's a mild way of
about
one specifically of putting it.
Yeah. It's not much of a spoiler. We can talk. We kind of text off pod about this too, but Jane is weirdly like one of my favorite characters, and she is so wheels off psycho. But I don't know the actress's name, but whoever's playing her, I love her because she just goes so. She can like flip it on a switch, and she's playing that character perfectly. She's supposed to be a psychopath, and she's playing it to a T. So she's killing it.
Yeah, the scariest thing about her is you're like, you should be acting crazier based on what you're doing, and you're not. You just want to play Nintendo Switch.
Like, we know what's behind her mind, but she's so subtle about everything, and so it gives that even creepier feel.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
Pretty well put together.
But yeah, so that, and then Shrinking, wrapped that up yesterday.
Is it season 3 of Shrinking?
There's one more episode left.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
So wait, there's 11?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, never mind. I have one more episode.
No, because the only reason I'm saying that is my wife said the same thing when we finished the episode, and then immediately Apple showed one more, and we were both like, "Oh, that was a season finale."
The way it ended, though, I was like, "Okay,
agreed.
That seems like a season finale."
It felt like a season finale.
Never mind.
And then Apple was like, "One more on 4/8 or whatever." So,
I'm looking up. That is super weird. And 11. That just doesn't feel right.
So, Horns, where are you at on this one?
We are. Let me look at the episode list here. By the way, we're loving this season. We're on episode 7.
Okay. I'm getting the only complaint, and this is probably intentional, just the way he's supposed to be playing it and his character arc, but I'm getting super frustrated with Jason Segel's character.
Agreed.
He's just like, and like, I understand what his journey is and why it's being played this way, but he just won't get out of his own way, and he just cannot come to any conclusion that he needs to come to. And I understand that's kind of the overarching juxtaposition that's supposed to be in this film. He's a therapist but can't deal with his own shit. I get that, but God, it's so frustrating as an audience.
This show is full of characters who self-sabotage, and it gets
Yeah.
kind of hard to watch at times.
Yeah.
Do you either of you feel, without giving anything away, Jeff, I know you're a few episodes away, this show's kind of lost a little bit of a sense of itself from the first season or two? Like, I'm still enjoying the third season, don't get me wrong. I enjoy seeing these characters, but when I think about what the show was supposed to be about and the development of each character, it doesn't almost feel like the same show, and they're just kind of like, oh, we have these characters that people like, and we're going to make it about them, which I get, but I don't feel like that was what the show was originally about. I don't know if you guys feel that way.
So there is a different feel. I don't know if I would express it the way you said. I'd be interested to know, like, as far as your standpoint, what you thought the show was trying to be in the beginning.
I'm not going to give any spoilers right now, but it's we've lost a sense of Chase Ezekiel's character doing any therapy anymore. Like, I feel like that's been completely lost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tread on, like, step on eggshells right now for Jeff. Like, I still really enjoy this show. I don't know that this season is scratching as much of an itch the first two seasons did for me. Like, I'm not hating on it, but there's something lacking.
That's a good point, and something I really didn't even think about. And like, as the show is progressing, like, you just assume like he has a job, he's still doing his job. They're just not showing him do his job.
Agreed.
If that's what you're saying, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because that hasn't been a huge part of this season at all. Yeah.
I feel like this is what I really liked about the show. Like, we don't need to go down too much until this is over and Jeff catches up. But
I think, again, I'm 3 episodes behind, but I do like, so the jumping off point for the show, not to, if anyone wants to see it, I won't even spoil where it starts because it's a huge plot thing, but I don't think that has the legs to like keep going as a show. Like, you can't just keep dragging out that emotional through line, which is good and bad. Like, but I also don't feel like that, not that that's something in life that gets resolved, but I'm not really happy with like where the characters kind of left off on that. Like, if you think about,
I don't know.
I'm
struggling with that. I'm still enjoying it. That's the funny part about it. Like, I still look forward to watching it every week. So also, I'm not complaining about it. But it's not the same.
I don't know. Maybe the show, I think sometimes it has some really, really good potential for like emotional beats, like Brett Goldstein's character. And then I feel like they have more prioritized like the quirky interactions between all the characters over like plot. And I think that is a strength of the show, and that it can kind of be about nothing and then also about like really heavy issues at the same time. But I sort of find that it's like, you know, like in real life when you'll use humor to sort of like distract or deflect from like dealing with serious issues. But like sometimes the show has done that. Even with like Jimmy's character, like they've had a serious thing going on all this season. And part of me feels like the show has never really taken it seriously enough. Like, it's always just been like the butt of a joke or like a punchline. And maybe that'll get resolved in a different way, but I don't think it will based on where I left off.
Yeah, it definitely has a different identity this season, but still love most of the characters.
I don't know if the intention was to do this, but this might be revisionist history, but I feel like it has become much more of an ensemble, and at least season 1, it was mainly just Siegel and Ford. Or primarily. And now it's like everyone has not equal screen time, but definitely like
you're still not there, but they're trying to get me to care about random people. I feel like why do I need to care about? Like, I don't need more characters to care about.
Sure. That is a good point. Like, everyone has developed into a main character or developed into making you want to feel like they're a main character, so you have feelings. And yeah, it's likely I agree with that. It's like, it's too much for me to worry about at this point or try and make a connection on. I can't keep up.
Like Liz's character, if you would have told me season 1, like she has maybe like the biggest or the most, like she's in like several different storylines this season. Like not that she's like the star.
She's involved in every little pocket and every little group. Yeah.
The sad thing is it's not about the Liz's and the characters anymore. There's so many random now characters that I have to care about. Like, give me Liz. That's fine. But
Liz is true. Fucking funny.
Yeah.
Liz isn't Liz married to what's the Bill Lawrence? That's his wife, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been a couple other Nate, I'm sure you picked up on You probably might know their names, but a couple of like Scrubs cameos in this throughout the show. Like the janitor from Scrubs has been on it a few times.
Oh
right?
yeah, because he's one of Harrison Ford's patients. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember a scene where they were at like a coffee shop, and that guy got one of the most delicious looking muffins I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't even focus on the fucking scene. I was like, oh my god,
Give me that muffin.
for real. Nice.
All right, good stuff. Yeah.
Cycling, what else you got?
I got a few, but I'll be respectful of our time right now, so I'll just say two things really quickly. I'll save the others for later. Scrubs with the new Scrubs, we're 8 episodes in now. It's incredible. I mean,
Nice.
like,
Still
it's
trending
so-
up. Nice.
Yeah, they literally have nailed everything that made Scrubs so good in the original run. Like, I am shocked. Robin Sparkles, my wife, is like laughing at me because every time we're watching it, I say the same thing. I'm like, I know I'm repeating myself, but damn, they like nailed this. Like, they are doing so good, and it makes me so happy. So if you like the Scrubs original like series, and you're just kind of like, oh, I don't want to ruin it, this is great. Please watch it. And Thurman, I don't know how this is for you too. Really quickly, we finally got the Harry Potter trailer for the HBO series
I haven't
last
seen
week.
it yet. Yeah.
Okay, you got to watch it because I thought we were getting a teaser that was going to be like a 30-second
Yeah.
Hagrid to Harry going, "You're a wizard," and it was going to be like, "Oh, coming out in 2027." Not only did we not get that, we got a 2.5-minute trailer,
Oh hell
and
yeah.
it's coming out this Christmas.
By the way, Nick Frost is Hagrid. Incredible.
Yes, yeah,
Great
and the cast already is so awesome, but there's so many people out there who are like, who is this movie for, or who is this show for? Like, why are we redoing it early on? And
Harry Potter fans. That's who it's for.
Yeah.
Next question.
well, not just the Harry Potter fans, but like also as a book lover, there's so much the movies couldn't do. There's just like it's and so I'm so like getting annoyed with people saying like, oh, we just got done with the movies, 15 years ago. First of all, it's not true. The movies were 25. The first movie was 25, 76 years ago. But there was so much content they didn't cover.
Well, and getting back to
And-
my original point, now that it's on HBO, they can show full penetration.
Yes, and that's all I care about.
Right, that's all
That's
that
why
really
I signed up. That's why I love the book so much. It was so descriptive.
Yeah.
No, so I will just say, and Thurman, I'm excited for you to watch this trailer. I sent it to our group chat. You need to watch it. It is. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. It's coming out this Christmas. This is exactly what I've hoped Harry Potter would be. Not to take anything from the movies. It's going to be interesting to see how we feel like meeting new characters and new actors as those characters, but they already showed scenes in this trailer that are not in the movies, but that are in the books.
Have they
And I'm
revealed
so
how
thrilled.
many episodes it will be?
I think this first season's 8 episodes, 8-hour-long episodes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, 7 seasons. I think the goal is 10 years and 7 seasons, and they might make some seasons longer. We'll see. But I just wanted to mention that. There's other things I've watched, but like I'm really excited. That trailer really got me going.
Yeah, I don't know why, because I feel like this was almost just announced. I was pretty shocked they had so much of it filmed already. But maybe I'm just like getting the timeline a bit off. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
I'll save it for next time. I have a few.
Nice, good tease. All right, we close with our question and answer segment. Do you even lift, bruh? Where we go around and ask a question that we leave you folks with at home. The question tonight, what are the bros' top 100 movies of all time? As we continue our countdown, link to this is also in the description of this episode. Shit is getting serious here. Nate Thurman is going to give us the next 2 on his list tonight. And we are in, officially for you, Nate, the top 25. Before we do that, though, real quick, Cycly, how would you describe to the people at home what these top 100 lists are, or really how the methodology is put together to put them, really build them, because it's a difficult and very personal task.
Yeah, it's built with a sense of freedom. It's your interpretation of the top 100 movies you've ever seen, with a description that you want to declare. Like, it can be the top 100 movies that you view as like Oscar-winning movies. It can be the top 100 movies that made you smile or cry at certain points in your life. It's a very intimate decision, and it's really awesome to kind of revisit all the films you've watched through your life and how they impacted you. And no one needs to defend the list. It's purely yours.
Except Banner.
I was going to say,
except Banner, because his is terrible, guys.
Asterisk.
We don't. And again, as I like to say, his opinions do not reflect those of the Bro4 squad.
Very well said. All right, Nate, you last left us off at number 26 with Christmas Vacation, absolute classic, which I believe, I think every bro might have this on their list somewhere. I'll have to go back and check, but that's
we need a recap after we run through this to see.
Yeah. So at 25, it will be joining The Princess Bride for Ronnie Cycli, and for me, the comedy 21 Jump Street. What will meet them in the top 25 at number 25 for you?
Number 25 is The Big Lebowski.
Wow.
Nice.
You and Cycli's list, a lot of synergy going on here.
Have you already done
the respect?
At 26, yeah. So he's one, and you had
Princess Bride was 2.
Yeah.
Dang, that's really
same but different.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Nice. Yeah, this is one of those that just kind of became a cult classic after the fact. And I mean, when this first came out, I mean, it came out in '98. I probably didn't see it for several years until I got into my like teenage years, which I think was a big time for a lot of people around our age to watch it. If I watched this when it first came out, when I was 10, I would not have gotten it or found anything funny about it. So it's one of those, probably, it may have been around the same time, but this one and Fargo, like first introductions into the Coen brothers. So very influential, very eye-opening to like just kind of those irreverent comedies to where you're like, what is going on? I don't know why I like this so much, but it's fucking hilarious.
It's just so unique. Like nothing else is like this that came out around that time.
Yeah.
Or even now, honestly.
No,
that's true.
No, they don't really make films like this anymore. But yeah, it was one of those ones that influenced me to have a White Russian drinking period for a while, which now sounds...
You have to get it when you bowl.
Pretty awful. Yeah. Next time I go bowling, I might order a White Russian just to honor this.
The bartender would be like, "Did you just fucking watch Big Lebowski?" That's the only possible reason someone would order that.
And you go, "I've never seen that movie. I just love White Russians."
Just love cream and liqueur at any time of day. No, but yeah, this is a great one. Very quotable. Yeah, super. I mean, there's some very laugh out loud, supposed to be funny, comical moments, but there's also a lot of subtlety to it. And I've heard Jeff Bridges and probably some other actors in here talk on podcasts and things, and like people are always like, "Oh, do you improv a lot of this?" And like, no, the Coen brothers are just great writers. We just read what they wrote, and it was hilarious, and it worked. And I think you get a lot of that with a lot of Coen brothers. They're like, "Oh, did you improv and stuff?" And like, no, it's just great writing made the movie. So I think that's a pretty cool testament to this.
I think it's also a huge compliment to both actors and writing, because if you think they improv'd it, it feels so natural that you think it was off the cuff.
Yeah.
And then for the writers, it's like you wrote shit so good that someone finds it hard to believe that it actually like would translate that well from page to screen.
Yeah, 100%. And I've heard Bridges say that a couple times in interviews and stuff. So yeah, it just gives a testament to how good the writing was.
For sure.
Horns, here's why you need to watch Hamnet. You and I have I'm looking at our list right now. This is insane, by the way. We have Big Lebowski and Princess Bride within just a few. We have Get Out, which are identical at 31, by the way. We both have The Departed within 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking. That's all I can.
That's
you and I
wild.
have Prisoner of Azkaban within like 10. Like, yeah, no. Like, this is weird.
As much, and we have a lot of overlap, obviously, but like as much as like to the horror genre that you lean and I don't. That is kind of crazy. Nice. I like
we
that.
have other common movies, but like very far away from each other, right? Like that's
but I mean that's like 5 that are really close.
I mean, you think of all the movies you've ever seen in your life, and then you go off and independently rank them, and that happens. That's really fucking.
That's what I was like, holy shit! Like I started looking at the list when you mentioned that. I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, that's
Dang,
wild.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
Nice.
Okay,
All right.
next
Nate,
up.
what will be your number 24 to close us out? Cycly has A Knight's Tale, and I have One Day, the movie, not the Netflix show, although they're based on the same story. But we'll meet them. Banner has Jurassic World, by the way, at 24, excuse me. What's your 24th?
Mine is a Heath Ledger classic.
I swear to God.
No, it's not.
Okay, I just noticed we have Gladiator within two of each other too.
Jesus hits.
No. Okay. Anyway, sorry. My 24 is Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this one. I don't want to give any spoilers away.
If you were going to say Prisoner of Azkaban, it would have been another 4 away from Cycly.
That would have been
So
wild.
thank God you only.
Yeah, I was trying to see where all my other Harry Potters were. I won't.
He
say
wasn't
anything,
far off
but-
on his Prisoner of Azkaban, which is 33.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah,
tease,
33.
Thurman. Is this your highest ranked Harry Potter, or can you
See, that's
see
what I was looking. I'm not going to say anything,
Hmm.
and we'll just see where the cards fall,
Okay.
just to see if there's another one up there. There's one out. So, yeah, I mean, as far as it going back to the books and then relating to the movie, it's kind of tough because I think if you've read all the books and seen all the movies and so in depth and so ingrained into it, it kind of bleeds over, and I think you kind of take a little from both and form your opinion. And that may be what this one is, but I think this one just is a standalone good movie. But jumping forward, spoiler at the end of it, this is the big one where we have the death of Dumbledore. So it all leads
What?
up to, sorry. Yeah, sorry to spoil it for you. Sorry about that. My bad. I didn't mean to do that to you on the pod tonight. But no, you've got obviously that huge culmination at the end. But all the buildup and all that leads to that, and Malfoy's kind of transformation. He's always been a dick, but this is when he truly has to be forced into making a decision which side you want to be on. And seeing that battle is really cool. And then you get a very dark and gritty battle a very quick battle between him and Harry. But it's just visceral, and like it's one of the first ones where like it's really, I mean, Cedric Diggory dies a couple books before, but like life or death, and it just happens all of a sudden. It's very like sporadic, and it kind of catches you off guard. It's just a very big scene that I think stuck with me, and the way they did it was great. Through the whole movie, you're unpacking his journey with Dumbledore and trying to get Slughorn to the school and extract the memories, which is a whole huge plot thread that has a big impact on everything. But yeah, there's just a ton, since it was the penultimate book when it came out to the final one. So it had a lot to build up to, had a lot to set up.
Almost more pressure than being the last book
For
in
the
some
final,
ways.
yeah. But yeah, as the Harry Potter movies progressed and got darker and grittier, it just gave you, I don't know, it gave you a better feeling that they were gonna fulfill these movies the best way they could and really bring it across the finish line. And this one really stood out as phenomenal, the way they did it and the way it tied back to the book, the way they told the story. It was really good.
And I think nailed the dark tone too. I mean,
Oh,
it
for
gave
sure.
gave you faith going into Deathly Hallows that they weren't
Mhm.
afraid to pull any punches and actually do justice
Yeah.
to what was on the page, I think.
Yep. Phenomenal movie. But we're getting in the nitty gritty now. We're in the top 30. So
Oh yeah, I mean, shit is we're not playing around, especially when you look at people can look at the list, but the number 23 films, like this is some serious shit.
I'm just really excited for Geiger's 52.
Yes, the people at home are excited about that as well.
He's alive, I swear.
just because
He was on
Cycling.
recently.
He's fine. He's fine. He's alive. We're fine.
he's totally alive.
We
The
wouldn't
most
say he's
alive.
alive if he wasn't, guys.
Yeah, that'd be
Just because
ridiculous.
Cycly was talking about crying. Spoilers, 23, tearjerker.
Mine is a tearjerker too. Fuck.
Is it
Wow.
Hamnet?
It's
Is
like
it
a
Hamnet?
Yeah, I threw Hamnet in there. I haven't even seen it yet. I just know.
You just know.
Yeah, I'm going off of vibes. for this.
Yeah,
At this point, how common our list is, just throw it in there.
maybe. Okay. Yeah, but that's it for me.
All right. Well, before we let the people go, any last thoughts, closing words of wisdom, pieces of advice for episode 261? Nate, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, it's kind of twofold. They go together. They're kind of two separate things, but definitely in the same realm. Stay hydrated out there, and also use chapstick. I'm holding a thing of chapstick right now, so it's making me think of that. But I think if you stay more hydrated, your skin stays better. You don't have to use as much chapstick, but I think it's still an important combo. A little 1-2 punch. Just something that is kind of overthought sometimes. It flies under the radar.
I'm a huge chapstick
I've
guy.
got these chapsticks are great too because I can leave them in my car, and then the hot Texas heat,
They don't melt.
they don't melt because they're already kind of melty. So you don't get a tube of melted Carmex or whatever in your center console. So these are kind of my go-to.
It's like, joke's on you, son. I wanted that.
Yeah, I planned ahead. Fuck you, son.
Idiot. Bitch. Cycling, what do you want to close that with? Episode 261.
I don't believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, but
Oh, boy.
the chapstick one is one I believe. The more chapstick you use, the more chapstick you need. Don't use chapstick, actually. I'm fine. I don't use chapstick, and I don't have chapped lips. And the few times I have chapped lips is when I use chapstick. So I'm sorry. It's all bullshit, and it was all
Wow.
part of Big Chapstick.
We're bought and
I
paid
don't
for.
like it is.
Damn.
You know
I
we're
didn't
bought
know-
and paid for because chapstick is the brand, not even the.
Exactly.
Lip
It's like
balm.
Kleenex.
My bad.
This is a facial tissue.
Okay, well, I didn't know I was going to be burned that bad on my chapstick stance.
I'll just say use Burt's Bees.
We all have our people paying our bills.
It's
Like
natural
NASCAR.
and made from bee puke. So
I'll say something that has bothered me the last 2 times I've taken a walk around my neighborhood. People need to pick up their dog's shit.
oh, has it been on your sidewalk?
It has been.
Same
See,
here.
that I don't get. That's insane.
How is the dog? The dog doesn't even want to do that. The dog wants to
No.
poop in the grass.
I don't know what's happening. Like there's a pandemic or something.
I'm trying to think of context where like an owner might not know their dog pooped while on a walk, but it's
No,
a
that's-
real struggle for me and a leap in logic to try.
I have 2 dogs. That's not possible.
So
Yeah, it confuses me.
if you're listening to this and you've committed this heinous act, just it's not too late to change your ways.
I feel like it's been a bigger issue like the past couple months for some reason.
I'm noticing it more for sure because
Yeah,
we
I don't
pretty
know
much
what's
walked the
happening.
same route, and last 2 times I've seen dog shit, and maybe
Man.
like once every 5 times I would see it before. I don't know if it's dog shit season. We all know
It's the
it's-
dogs
government
who
trying
tend to
to
shit
distract
more
us from
at
the
this point,
Epstein
yeah.
files.
But you know what I did? As I was looking at the dog shit on the sidewalk, I applied some chapstick, and I said to myself, "This needs to change."
And how chapped were your lips 10 minutes later?
Not at all before, but after the chapstick, horrendously chapped. Yeah,
So you needed to add more chapstick.
absolutely. So I went out and bought some more.
It's a vicious cycle.
All right, for the American hero Nate Thurman and our legal counsel Ronnie Cycli, I'm the mayor Jeff Hornacek. We are the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. You can find us on our website, broforcesquad.com. Type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you find your podcast, and you'll find us there. Till next time, we need to go see if MI6 got the resumes we sent over because I haven't heard back. I think it's a little weird. I had good references too.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
sorry
just
about
assuming they're gonna like do a soft note pass in a random park at some point to tell me I made it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go hang around random parks to make
Yeah.
it easier on them.
Sorry about the early